And we are back. Appreciate y'all tapping in with us on this thrilling edition, with this somber, this annoying edition of the Doin Alright podcast. We're brought to you by our good friends at Ownwell. Thank y'all so much. Man, Bryan, let me tell you something that feels strange to me.
Mm-hmm.
A couple weeks ago, we was looking at this 3-game stretch.
Sure.
This Eagles, Chiefs, Lions. And people feel like, man, if you get 2 out of them 3 games, you be good to go.
Sure.
All right. That was before everything happened or whatever, right?
Right.
You know, you go do your thing versus Philadelphia there. You shoot yourself in the foot real early, whatever. You do your thing versus Kansas City. You win that game. You kind of shot some more bullets in your feet. It's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I feel like the feel around social media and Cowboy Nation is kind of interesting right now, because if you would have just fast forwarded or simulated these 3 games and somebody said, "Hey, these 3 games that you got in this stretch, you won 2 out of 3 of them."
Yeah,
I think people will feel good about that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something about the loss and how you lost, and it wasn't the ass whooping. It was a tough game. Defense got their ass whooped pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just noticing a bit of a dreary vibe around Cowboy Nation. I saw you up, because I was working out, but I saw you up fighting on social media this morning.
Yeah.
That's what I like about you, Bryan.
Sure.
Before we get into the breakdown and such, what's your feeling? What's your feeling on they feelings? Where you at with the playoff race? Is it about over? Did you feel like it was going to be over if you won 2 out of 3 a couple of weeks ago? Just kind of talk to me about where you at with it right now, Bryan.
You know, I kind of felt like, first off, Voch, maybe Kansas City's not very good, and maybe Philadelphia's not very good. I think you played a real offense last night. I think you played a real offense with threats at the skill position, at the running back spot. You know, we've come on here and we talk about this quite a bit, like the things that concern you going into a football game: backs out of the backfield, balls to the flat. How well is this team going to tackle? How well is this team going to cover? Are they going to play run defense? You know, these are all things that you kind of go into and you have concerns about. I think that Detroit did a good job of exposing you in some areas that you still are weak, that maybe that Kansas City and maybe Philadelphia couldn't expose you in. And I think that you played a really, really good offensive team. Yes, they were compromised at the guard spot, but what did they do? When they felt like they got compromised, when they gave up pressures, what did they do? They took their guard out and put another one in. They made an adjustment. You know, you did a pretty good job going back and watching all the third down stuff. You did a pretty good job with that. There were a couple of times, though, you know, when you put Bell in coverage, you probably get what you deserve.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's kind of where this game will hinged a little bit, is the fact that we could focus on how they went after Ravel. We could focus on that. They weren't scared of Bland either. And I think what we're finding out, Voch, is teams aren't scared of Bland. You know, Bland and guys like Diggs, they still attack those guys. But you had a team that really was very comfortable offensively playing against Matt Eberflus and his scheme. And you watched how, you know, early in that game, they were able to generate some pressures. They were able to kind of affect Goff in a way that, like, he was, you know, wasn't as accurate as he needed to be. But then you get back into, your four-man line stuff. You don't rush particularly well. You give him a little bit of time. He feels comfortable. And then you got St. Brown. And we talked about this really leading up to the game, how it was going to be run after catch. Mm-hmm. That's what the Lions do. We're the best in the league when it comes to run after catch. So for you, you know, when you're in a situation where ball goes to the flat and on third down and you've got Bland out there in coverage, ready to make a tackle, but then gets juked, and now it's a first down. He had a chance to get off the field, had a chance right there to be able to once again give the offense back the ball, but you couldn't make plays when you needed to make plays. And really, that was kind of the key of this football game. Yeah. Defensively, there were some situations where you had opportunities. But if you can't carry the back, if you're overshown and you can't carry the back in man coverage, you get caught in the trash and then the ball goes to the outside and it's thrown there and now it's first down. These are things that, the good defenses are able to do. They're able to fight through and overcome. And yesterday, you just could not fight through all the things you needed to fight through in order to win that game defensively.
If the Cowboys would have won, Brian,
yeah,
would you have felt like the Lions were not a good football team? Like the Cowboys beat the Chiefs.
No.
No. The Cowboys beat the Chiefs and the Eagles, and
right.
Looking back on it, well, maybe they weren't good football teams.
Right.
Would you have felt the same way if the Cowboys beat the Lions?
I think to me, watching the Lions play, and especially with St. Brown playing, that to me is where this thing kind of went bad for me. When all of a sudden I'm thinking, oh wow, it's going to be Jamison Williams and others. And others. You take your chances, but early in that football game, St. Brown was exactly where he needed to be for the Lions. I would think, like, offensively, I think when you look at the Lions with all their pieces, I think they're better offensively than what Philadelphia is, and I think right now they're better than what Kansas City is. I think to me, though, and their defense, you got to give Detroit's defense some credit in this one, too.
Sure.
The way that they played. We kind of talked about, how were you going to find ways, how were you going to find ways to attack their corners? How are you going to, they did a great job when the way that they played you. So overall, I think Detroit very well coached. I think they got some talented players. I think they've had some bad runs this year with some games, but to me, I think of the three games that you've played, I think Detroit was the best of the three that you played.
We're going to talk about offense first, Brian. And, this team, has to kind of like grow up or whatever, right? Like if we're going to be playing in big games and postseason and all that kind of stuff, there needs to be a certain level of growth from the team. I think the Cowboys offense shows me some of that, like, big game maturity. I don't think your defense does, but trust me, we're going to talk about defense for a long time. But the offense ran into a ton of adversity.
Yeah, it did.
A ton of little nonsense, you know what I mean? And I'm still kind of ungrateful to a point, because when other teams drive on our defense, it looks easy. Like, I was asking about how many times were the Lions in third down last night. And they really weren't in third down to the end of the game when they was running the football. Right. But they totaled at like 8 or something like that. I feel like the Cowboys was always in some kind of second and long. Yeah. Some kind of third and long. And it was because of the nonsense that you put yourself in. Whether it be like a fumble, a goofy backwards pass did something, Ferguson doing some goofy stuff. Your offensive tackles weren't great yesterday.
Not at all.
We're going to talk about Nate in a little bit. Y'all just hang tight. But I think even through all that, they still found a way to put 30 points on the board. And it would have been more if game flow was different, I think. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had to press the ball at the end. CeeDee Lamb went down, and he was having a phenomenal day. Yeah. I think if CD stayed healthy the entire game, there probably would have been a different game. But I think this staff knows when Lamb goes down, Flo can step in and be that guy. Sure. Because Pickens still has his role, but Flo turns into the golden dude. If you know what the golden dude is, you don't miss shows. Good for you. But Flo turns into the golden dude. He gets the targets, and he gets to go run and be free. And the offense was just as efficient doing that. I don't even think the Cowboys had a terrible day running the football, because they really just want to run to set the passes up.
But they were chasing points the whole.
You got away from the run.
Yeah,
it's the same. You know what I mean? Yeah. But they were in the game the whole time. And look, Brian, it was a point in the game, minus the last 5 minutes when the 14 points or whatever. Right? Yeah. But Brian, I was watching the game. I was like, damn, dog. Like, how are the Cowboys still in this? Yeah. Despite everything that's going on defense, feel like we can't get a stop.
You get a blocked field goal and all. I mean, you get
everything went wrong for you, and you were like, it was a one possession game. Going towards the end, and you had a shot to do it. Right. You just needed to stop. We're gonna hit on the defense for a long time, but just tell me what you thought about how the Cowboys offense operated.
Well, I kind of feel like, though, to me, and listen, if this is nothing new. Yeah. And I say this, and I say it in regards to George Pickens. You and I watch.
You know who he is.
Yeah, you and I watch a lot of game tape.
Yeah.
Every week we break this thing down. And so when you start to talk about George Pickens, and I know you do a lot of work with Jesse Holley.
Yeah.
And Jesse probably last night was banging on you like, well, wait a minute, don't tell me this is how George Pickens runs route. Oh, you're looking for a pause there for a minute?
No, I ain't looking for nothing.
Yeah.
I ain't saying that. Please, just keep going.
Keep going.
Just finish.
But yeah, but you're in a situation where if you really watch George Pickens play, George Pickens is not a great route runner. That's something that, and all of a sudden we get on Prime network there and TV, whatever you want to call it, and now we get the commentary where, he looks lazy. He's not. But if you watch George Pickens play for 14 games, George Pickens is not a great route runner. He's just not.
Yep.
And so, but what you do see from George Pickens is effort. And what you do see from him is that ability to finish. And there were some plays in that game where once Lamb went down, it was very, very clear that the Detroit Lions were not going to let George Pickens get the football. They were completely okay with Flournoy getting the ball. They were totally okay with that. And offensively, yeah, that's where Dak was going with it, But with Pickens in that whole situation, not a great route runner to begin with. And then all of a sudden, though, you get a couple of those plays where you're like, wow, that seemed like some questionable effort there. I know the deep ball where to me, you watch it and you're like going, I don't think he saw the ball. And one of the things George Pickens can absolutely do
is find the
ball. And so all of a sudden, he's on an outside release. He's nodding. He gets the corner to go outside. Now he's going back to the inside. But you see him look inside at the safety, at Maddox. There was a couple of times where balls were thrown where it appeared that George Pickens was looking at the safety or where the safety was. And so to me, that's, lack of concentration. But the one thing that we always say, George Pickens tracks the ball. And he didn't track that ball in the long one. But there was things that they did to him. They buzzed linebackers. Anzalone, the linebacker, buzzed in the flat. They're trying to take away the slant. Then they double coverage. They take the safety. One slams out, they take the safety, and now immediately it becomes bracket coverage. And they're like, fine, beat us with Flournoy. Good luck with all that.
It was working, too.
It was working.
Yeah.
It was absolutely working. Detroit came with a really, really solid game plan. They did not have an answer for CeeDee Lamb. They honestly did not have an answer for CeeDee Lamb. And it's unfortunate that he goes out of that game, but you're kind of thinking that, well, here we go. George Pickens is going to elevate his game, and call it disinterested, out of sorts, whatever you want to call it. The routes are never great. When George doesn't extend his hands and stuff and lets the ball get on him, there's a chance that you're going to have. The interception wasn't even a slant. It was 4 steps and an in break. It wasn't even a slant. So there were times with George Pickens, you wonder watching him play, is it all out busting your ass? That's just how he plays. Just now you get a national television audience that's like, wow, that's George Pickens. Well, they're calling out George Pickens, but if you know through how he plays. Now, I'm saying this in a way from the offense because they needed George Pickens to make some plays.
Sure did.
To get back in that football game, they needed him to make some plays. It'd been really nice if he would have made that long catch, because if he makes that catch, it's likely a touchdown. You look at the play, the 2-point play that they throw to Ferguson. They know that George Pickens is going to run through the back of the end zone. I mean, they've got a guy standing there turned waiting for George Pickens. They had a really good game plan for your offense. They gave up points, but Dallas was chasing points the whole day. So Detroit was like, yeah, okay. It just never, even though it got to a 3-point game, you could not get a defensive stop in order to try and flip the game in your direction.
I think if the Cowboys would have been able to block the Lions up front a little better,
yeah,
then I can only imagine that even more points would be coming.
Sure,
what I mean? Because
sure. Kicking field goals was not, it's not going to get it done.
But even in that way, though, because I count Aubrey as a part of the offensive operation a little bit.
Yeah.
Even if that's the case, you got a backup plan to put points on the board.
Well, yeah, but the backup plan is kicking 55, 58, 63-yard field goals.
The problem is that your defense is terrible and it's making you do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're not doing anything to – I don't know if you're really, really, really moving the ball against Detroit.
Yeah.
You know, I think I give Shepard, I give him a lot of credit because he went into this football game. What's the one thing that we talked about Detroit coverage-wise? Press man.
Yeah.
That son of a gun – he played zone coverage 53% of his snaps yesterday. They were on his ass about trying to do something different. You can't get if you don't get in a pass rush and you're not and you're playing man coverage, boy, you're going to give up some plays. What do? It's kind of how people play Dak.
Yeah.
Rush 3, drop 8.
Yep.
Rush 3, drop 8. You know, you make Dak have to play against zone coverage.
And getting pressure with 3 don't help at all.
And it don't, yeah. It doesn't. And then, you know, and the thing about it is your offensive tackles, and you mentioned this, your offensive tackles were poor in this game.
Yeah.
And I think between them there were 18 pressures between them.
11 for Nate and 7 for Tim.
Yeah. So to me, that's where kind of this game was. You ran the ball okay, but you were chasing points the whole day. You know,
I don't want Cowboy fans to be so reactive, man. It's okay to change your mind sometimes, but let's not be reactive. I know the new guy is always going to be appealing. I know that the new thing is always going to be fun. Cowboy Nation is a place where they want Jason Witten to leave so Rico Gathers can go and be great, Brian. Like, this is who we dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Cut Zeke so that Bo Scarborough and Gus Johnson can get busy type. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get Dez out of here. We got Andy Jones type people. You know, I don't know what it is about Cowboy Nation, Brian. They love to get the third string guys involved.
Yeah.
You may have your issues with Tyler Guyton, man.
Sure.
And Tyler Guyton got him. You know what I'm saying? But the one thing I'll say about Tyler Guyton is he only kind of gets whooped by the elite talents. I think Guyton would have been fine against old Al-Qadim Muhammad this week. Yeah. Because that's what Guyton kind of shows me.
3 sacks, a little much today?
Al-Qadim Muhammad cannot get 3 sacks on you.
No, can't do that.
It can't happen. If Nate gets whooped by Aiden Hutchinson, you don't want to excuse it, but I kind of get it. You can't let Al-Qadim Muhammad get off on you like that.
No.
Brother Nate. And I just wanted to, I'm not saying that, because what I'm about to say is, I wanted to see a little more fight from Nate.
Yeah.
I ain't saying that Nate rolled around on his belly, but Nate looked like he hadn't played football all year. Nate looked like he's never been in this situation, and Nate's played a lot of reps this year.
Yeah.
Nate got snaps under his belt.
Yeah.
But Nate just looked totally unready for this moment right here. And I be wanting to tell people, man, like, hey, you just can't move on to the flashy new guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Guyton's probably gonna play next week. We got 10 more days for the next game, so Guyton probably come right back for you there. But man, like let these dudes grow at their own pace, man, and don't just try to throw them all out there, man, because Nate played terribly.
Yeah,
he played terribly, and this ain't his first game being terrible neither. Like, he was bad versus Broncos too when he did get in there, but Jets, whatever. But
good against Kansas City last week. So he's been kind of one of these things. It's kind of been one of these things where, to me, it's been a little bit. You talk about the growing pains with offensive linemen, you know, and how they have to deal with that.
Yeah. Just let Nate grow, and let's be excited about Nate, like when camp come around and all this kind of stuff. But when it come to game like these, man, we just can't be so quick to change our mind. But even through all that, Brian, I think your offense was still trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
And we need to spend a lot of time crapping on this defense, though. But before we do that, we're gonna let Brian tell us about our good friends at Ownwell.
Homeowners, just a quick timeout right here on the Doin Alright podcast. That property tax bill that the county's about to drop on you, you don't have to eat that thing. Ownwell can fight it for you in about 3 minutes. No upfront cost, nothing out of pocket. They handle the whole process, the paperwork, the appeal, even the hearing if it goes that far. Most people end up getting their value lowered and saving around $1,100. It's a no-win, no-fee deal. If they don't save you money, you don't pay. Once you're in, they keep checking it every year so the savings stack up season after season. Do us a solid, scan this QR code or click the link below in the description. That supports our show, and you'll get a free savings estimate in minutes. Ownwell keeps it simple. Less stress, lower tax bill, more money back. Everybody wins. Tell them Bryan sent you.
Man, Brian, I can show use $1,100, man. Appreciate y'all Ownwell, man. I can show. That'd be nice to save some money on that. Hey, man. Let's get into this Cowboys defense, man. The feature presentation, Bryan Broaddus.
Sure.
Let's talk about something. Brother Flus, man.
Yeah.
Flus ain't Texas back yet, Brian?
Not yet. Not since I asked him about playing some spy coverage like way back in like week 2 or 3.
One rehearsing.
Yeah.
That's the bad thing about us, Brian.
Yeah.
I got a lot of petty bones in my body. They don't always come out.
Sure.
When people make bold declarations and they be wrong, I can't go find them. But they can find me and you real easy. You know what I'm saying? There was a couple people last week, man. I don't even know where I even saw him at. Whose chat it was. .com. Could have been here. Could have been my show. I don't know. Could have been the fan text. I don't know. Voch. Could have been DLLS. You owe Eberflus an apology.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, no, I damn don't. He was terrible. He was horrible. And the Cowboys had a couple of good games. What you want me to say?
Yeah.
Brian, what's the name of the defense coordinator for the Lions? The young guy, the first year guy,
Kelvin Shepard, LSU guy.
Played DB.
He was a linebacker.
Kelvin Shepard went out there with no Tyrion Arnold.
Yeah.
No Kirby Joseph.
Yeah.
Brian Branch was in and out of the lineup.
He
man.
was in and out of the lineup.
And them boys made opportune stops when you needed them to.
They did. They really did.
You know what I'm saying? Buddy's getting sacks with Al-Qadim Muhammad going to the Pro Bowl this year. You feel me? Bryan Broaddus, he came in the game with like 6 sacks. He walked out with 3. He going to the Pro Bowl this year.
Yeah. At least as an alternate.
Brian, I know the Cowboys have talent deficiencies. I ain't no fool.
Yeah.
Deron Bland is your best corner. If he was your second best corner, we'd be cooking with grease.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Donovan Ezra-Rocco is your best pass rusher. If he was your second or third best guy, we'd be much better.
Right.
Think about the hubbub that was made about Clowney missing a game. We were dreary about Jadeveon Clowney missing a game, Brian.
Yeah.
So talent-wise, I hear what people are saying. But Mr. Broaddus, the offensive onslaught that the Lions put on you, it's unacceptable, Brian.
Sure. It's
unacceptable, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you what the Lions did that I give them a ton of credit for that I wish we could do things like. And the Cowboys still put up 30 points and a gazillion yards. But what the Lions did, the Lions said, all right, you can beat me with Lamb because Lamb is fantastic. But you won't also beat me with Pickens.
Right.
You will not.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do stuff to your run game and kind of slow that down a little bit.
Sure.
You ain't finna let everybody whoop me today.
Yeah.
Lamb gets hurt. You could beat me with Ryan Flanoy.
Yeah.
Tear it up. You ain't finna get that guy going.
Yeah.
You ain't finna get 2 wide receivers going at the same time.
Yeah.
And we're gonna find a way to kind of deal with Ferg a little bit on the back end.
Right.
Brian, I look at what the Lions did to us, sir. Jameson Williams got busy. St. Brown had some big plays. His longest reception was 37 yards, 54 yards in Yak Bryan.
Yeah.
Jameer Gibbs got crazy in the passing game in particular. He had some run stuff.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, Brian and Voch, we not defense coordinators at all, but we watch film and go, hey man, they're gonna throw the ball to Gibbs, it's gonna be tough for you.
Yeah.
I figured they would know that.
Yeah.
But they act like they didn't. And Isaac Tesla went and got a touchdown on you. Brian, all them people can't go off.
Yeah.
All them people can't have impactful plays in a game. If Flus got out of the defense that was working the first 2 drives, because we had some good first 2 drives.
Yeah.
If he got out of that because Jameer Gibbs was beating us a little bit, fine. Let Jameer Gibbs beat you. He might be the best running back in the league. Let that guy beat you. He's going to beat you anyway.
Right.
I wasn't mad at Kenneth Murray. Cowboys was mad at Kenneth Murray in the open field when Gibbs shook him a little bit. Man, that's Jahmyr Gibbs and that's Kenneth Murray, bro. He going to do that to Logan Wilson. He going to do that to Shamar James. You ain't got a body
did it to Bland.
With. Anybody.
Yeah.
Brian, you can't let everybody get off. Gibbs getting off is fine. I wanted Eberflus to do what was working. Pardon me for being so long-winded.
No, not at all.
Brian. But we saw success with those three tackles.
Yeah.
And Flus will blitz an extra guy. And you saw Jared Goff get off his square a little bit. I saw a lot of people saying, where was Quentin Williams? Quentin was getting pushed in the middle.
Yeah.
Kenny was getting pushed in the middle.
He got pressure, as a matter of fact.
Osa was running around the circle. I don't know where Osa was. But there was push in the middle.
Right.
What you needed is maybe one extra guy pursuing.
Right.
And Flus didn't bring that guy. When Flus brought that guy, you saw success.
Yeah.
Jared Goff was off his platform. He had to move around. And even if Gibbs was available in the flats, Jared Goff still could have missed the throw because he was under pressure.
Right.
When you take that away and you don't blitz, and we only got a pair of our best defense tackles on the field because we back out the rotation and we out the 5-man front look, Bryan Broaddus. Jared Goff got time to throw the ball against you.
Yeah.
And they're already a timing operation. They win by a timing-based offense. When you was good, you was pressing on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Disrupting the timing.
Right.
I even tweeted, I was looking for the gift to let my pigeons free. Let my corners press.
Yeah.
Because we look solid for 2 drives doing it.
Sure.
Man, Gibbs make a big play. We 10 yards off the line of scrimmage now, Brian.
Yeah.
Looking goofy.
Yeah.
Versus a timing-based operation.
Right.
We did nothing to disrupt the timing in the latter halves of the game, opposed to those first 2 drives, versus a timing-based operation. We let them run free.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Who's asked for this?
He did. And to your point, even the metrics tell you this at the end of this game, and you can watch the tape and see the same thing. When he brought 5 rushers, he did it on 9 drop back passes. And so they got out of 9 dropbacks, bringing 5. They had 3 pressures, pressure rate of about 33%. No sacks. The numbers were 6 for 9 for 100 yards. But you did have the 3 pressures in 9 dropbacks. When he rushed just 4, those were 26 dropbacks. 6 pressures, right at about 23% on the pressure rate. He got the 1 sack. Goff was 19 of 25 for 209 yards. That was a completion percentage of 76%. When you rush 5, he was at 66.7.
Just went away from it.
He just went away from it. And you wonder why. You wonder why that happens that way. And to me, I mean, I know last night watching the game, there was a couple of times where Maris Leofau came on the blitz, just couldn't quite finish, but he was the one guy getting home. But you could see how that little bit of pressure was helping their defense, and Goff was getting a little jittery that way. He was, having to move, having to step up, throwing the ball on the ground. When you could tell when Goff's having a rough day is when he starts spiking that ball into the ground. Yeah. He's not sure that he wants to throw it in there and make a turnover. There were a couple of different times where he was pressured to the point. Hell, they had 2 receivers in the same spot at one time, had a drop there. St. Brown had a drop, but, it was a little bit of that confusion. But Dallas went away from something, and I guess the metrics tells Eberflus, hey, when you blitz him, he throws 9 touchdowns, no interceptions, all. But that's game to game. This game, it looked like you were affecting him with a little bit with your pass rush early in that game. But then you go away from it, though, and then that was the issue. Once he became somewhat comfortable, that ball's going to come out. That ball's going to get out of his hand. You mentioned the timing offense of it all. And if you do nothing to disrupt that timing, then you're going to have problems, and they did in this game.
Brian, you didn't tackle well.
Yeah.
You didn't cover well once you started giving up that 10-yard cushion there, Bryan Broaddus.
Yeah.
I don't know, Brother Flus. I ain't, whatever. Logan Wilson hadn't been playing a whole bunch.
No.
Why? You know why?
I have no idea. I have no idea. And, and maybe it's one of those things. These are the things that when I was in personnel, and I would ask these questions, I would go down the hall and ask the question of, what about this guy? What about this guy? Well, he's, if you watched him practice, you watched him play, you always get coach speak. I'm like, and then I would say, oh, okay, I'll turn back around and walk back to my office, But in actuality, though, it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, Logan, listen, Kenneth Murray, since the trade, had played a little better. But you see things that happen to him in space. And by the way, it happens to Logan Wilson too. I mean, and there, if you look at the couple of the touchdown runs that the Lions had, the linebacker play was whacked.
Terrible.
And guys like Osa and those guys getting driven down inside.
Overshown wasn't good neither.
Yeah, overshown. And this is the thing that now this is the interesting point that you make, or you bring up. Maybe the expectations that we had for Overshown are too lofty coming off the knee injury. Maybe they are, because the awareness that he plays with at times just isn't good enough. And you saw him, especially with backs that are good in space, good outside, the good, once he has to kind of deal, and you think, oh, wow, great athlete, he's going to run plays down. We've yet to see the Overshown that we've seen before.
You think that he's fine running in a straight line, but with athletes like Gibbs, you kind of got to plant your foot and stop and go sometimes.
I think he's confident, Voch, that he could do these things. I just don't think he's seeing things particularly well. And there was times where ball went to flat, and he's got man on man, and he hesitates, and you don't know why, especially with Gibbs going hard to his left. He hesitates inside, and now he's late getting over there. And that's when Bland had to make the play on third down, and he almost got his ankles broke. That was Overshown's man that he's got to run through. They bring all that trash to make him run, but he didn't get caught up in the trash. He just hesitates, and he doesn't read it fast enough. So they've had some problems there.
One of these touchdowns, he actually tackled Logan Wilson or something. They got real bunched up in one.
Yeah,
place, man. It was terrible. Just one last thing, Brian. I had an old coach tell me, and my uncle tells me this all the time. He was a player also. He's like, man, if the game comes down to the referees, you didn't do your job.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've just had that ingrained in my head since I was a wee lad. I never want to blame the officiating.
Yeah.
Whether the call is goofy or not, I don't want to blame it. Yeah. Let's say that the officiating was goofy and that they missed like 2-3 calls or something. Yeah. 2 ridiculous calls. If you don't fumble, if Jake doesn't fumble, if you don't get the goofy penalties early, if you actually play better defense, those calls don't even matter.
Hands to the face
from Pickens. Those plays don't even matter.
Yeah.
Like if you don't let Al-Qadim Muhammad get 3 sacks on you, that PI don't even matter.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I know Cowboy Nation's going to ask us, what do you think of the officiating? Maybe you'll get a different answer from Broaddus, but like I coached longer than I played, and coaches don't make excuses like that. Like we're gonna blame referees and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna be the one to blame Hockley and them.
Yeah, I think to me, I've studied officials long enough in my life, and I take a lot of pride in trying to know who these guys are and what they call and have.
Called it.
Yeah, I have an idea of how these things are played. I think you have to know who these officials are.
Yeah.
Listen, they miss calls on both sides. It's unfortunate. You go back and you watch the Ferguson, the offensive pass interference. If you look at Sean Hockley's crew, that's something that they've called. 13 games they've officiated. They've called offensive pass interference. You're going to get certain trends with some of these officials. You're going to get face masks, hands to the face. You're going to get all these kinds of calls. So you have to be ready for that. You absolutely have to be. Let's be honest, a third down play, a 3rd and 2, Detroit offense on the field, Dallas jumps in the neutral zone, and
They ain't call that.
Lions think they got a free play, and now it goes to the outside, and the ball's incomplete. Dallas gets a break. So I think Sean Hockley was bad for both teams yesterday. That is the second most penalized officiating crew in the league. So that's going in that Sean Hockley, his crew, are going to come up with some ridiculous calls. But I think yesterday it was a little bit of both ways. It just seemed like that Dallas's penalties, the timing of them were awful. When at certain points in time of the game, it was just awful.
Even the I believe it was the Pickens PI.
Yeah,
it was like neutralized. We got to talk about the offset and penalty rule.
Yeah,
like if one penalty is like Cowboys get 60 yards.
Yeah,
but you like clip somebody or something.
Yeah.
It just offsets or whatever. Like,
well, Pickens is I think Pickens tried to sell it by running through, but he also pulled the soccer flop, where he throws his hands up instead of just fight through like you're running the route. He kind of acts like that he got bumped and stuff like that.
You got to fight through them.
You got to just fight through. You just got to fight through like you're running the route, and see if you can make it work. Right. That was a really good call, though. I mean, it was a good call for the play standpoint.
Yeah.
Unfortunate call for the OPI.
I hate it, Brian. It is what it is. We gonna keep coming to work. You know what I'm saying? Next week's gonna be weird because we gotta shift the talk around a little bit. So what we might do is like film on Monday.
Okay.
Because people not gonna care, I promise. But we're gonna drop it away. Film on Monday. We might do a little draft talk on Tuesday or something like that.
Sure.
Maybe just some little light, some little looking forward into the future.
Yeah.
Break down Vikings Wednesday and Thursday, and we'll do questions on Friday.
Sounds great, man. Look forward to that.
We more than likely going to do it like that. So y'all be sure to tap in with us. We love you to pieces, though, man. Appreciate y'all for coming here on the Doing All Right. Even in the loss, man, y'all don't miss shows. I really like when people show that we've been watching y'all in our YouTube recap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People get the YouTube recaps and say, hey, man, y'all one of my top listened podcasts.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Appreciate all y'all, man. Hey, go to the website, crownglobalmedia.com. Everything that you're looking for, whether it be the audio, the merch store, everything is on the website, crownglobalmedia.com. And be sure to follow Bryan at Bryn Broaddus. I'm VOCHLOMBARDI. We'll catch y'all next time. Crown.